Let's mix it up. Hey drummers, how's it going? It's Alex once again, bringing some more fun-free drumming ideas. What we're going to do for the next couple of lessons is I'm going to take it back to basics. I've got a couple of lessons lined up for beginners. So if you've been playing for maybe like a few weeks, a couple of months, you get sort of stuck in a rut trying to think of something fresh to do. What I'm going to do over the next 2 weeks is show you a cool beat. I'm going to start off with one you probably already know. I'll just show you a few different ways that you can sort of spice it up a tiny bit by using some different voices. And we're going to chuck in a little extra kick where you might not expect it. And then for the second week, we'll look at a drum fill, a nice little pattern where we're going to inject a couple of kicks to where you're probably just playing like 16th notes with the hands. And then we're going to put both of those together. And hopefully by the end of this 2-week little session, you'll be a little bit better of a drummer. So stick around, I'll break it down. Here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick things off with the basic groove. Now this particular drum beat seems to be one of the most popular drum beats that beginner drummers play, especially if they've been sort of playing for maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and that's the old classic bass, snare, right, left, bass, snare, tick. So if you don't know about this particular drum beat yet, I'll just break it down very quickly. So for every 2 hi-hats you're doing, that's 1 beat within the bar. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and what we're going to do, for beat 1, we're going to go 1, and for beat 2, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. We go 2 and so we get a little right left at the end. So 1 and 2 and and then we do exactly the same for beat 3. 3 is just going to be 3 and, no, that's going to be 3E and then an and a bass drum. So we get 3E and then for beat 4, snare drum and hi-hat. So if I count it around, we've got 1 and 2 and 3E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I was thinking too much there, I nearly mucked it up. What I'll do, if I play this beat a couple of different speeds, it's a really simple groove, but if you play it like ridiculously fast, it gets quite tricky. So I'll play it sort of slow, medium, and then fast, and you can see what you can do with just this little basic sticking pattern. Here we go. A little bit quicker. And stupidly fast. So we've got the basic groove down, and I'm sure the majority of you can already play that one. It's a really fun one, and like I said, it does sound pretty cool when you start speeding it up. Now what we're going to do, so what you're playing there is some 16th notes with the hands, but you're taking the 8th note on the and of beat 2 and beat 3 itself, and you're splitting it into 2. Instead of being 2 and 3 and, it's 2 and 3 and. We're going to try and do the same thing with the kick on beat 4. So we're going to stick an extra bass drum just after we go snare and hi-hat, then we're going to chuck in a kick before we get to that extra hi-hat. And that sort of brings the groove to life a tiny bit more. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3E and 4E and 1 and 2 and 3E and 4E and. One of the things that might happen when you're trying to do this is you find that your right hand wants to follow your bass drum. So if you want, just take that last beat, beat 4, and then just practice going snare, boom, tick, snare, boom, tick. Don't rush into it because your right hand's probably going to go. Okay, so that's the last thing you want to do. You want to make sure that throughout all of your drum beats, especially the beginning ones, your right hand is a nice consistent 8th note pattern all the way through. So 1 and 2 and 3E and 4E and. Okay, just that 4E and. Hands, foot, tick. All right, so let's chuck that into our groove. We'll pop up there. Again, a few different speeds, and then I'll show you something we can do with that little right, left between the hi-hat and the snare. All right, here we go. let's go faster. Alright, so another thing I like to do, when I've got a couple of ideas, I like to sort of play them back to back and create a 2-bar loop. So you get a little bit of variation, so like a bit of a call and then a bit of response. So another thing you can do is 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. So you just swap between the two. Let's speed that up quickly. And that can sound pretty cool as well. So it just adds a little bit of variation to what you've already got. And another idea, just to, again, spice things up a tiny bit more. Instead of playing right, left between the hi-hat and the snare drum, play both of the notes, or all the notes up on the hi-hat. So you get this 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and you'll find you're doing exactly the same thing. All you got to do is just get that left hand, whip it up to the hi-hat, play your right, left, and then bring it back down again. So nice and slowly, one more time. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. And again, you can take this idea and then just chuck it into the mix, so you're not always playing exactly the same thing. So before I go, what I'll do, if I played just this idea nice and slowly, once we've nailed that, I'll then sort of piece together a nice little montage of all the different ideas. Bit faster. Okay guys, so there it is. I hope that lesson helped you out. Don't forget to pop over to onlinedrummer.com if you want to download the sheet music. There's a link in the description below. Also down there you'll find a link to my quick start guide to playing drums. So if you like this kind of stuff where things are a little bit easier and you're a beginner and you want to sort of like take your drumming a couple of steps further, then check that out. Also down there you'll find links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my Patreon page, so if you want to come and support the channel and chuck a few quid my way, that'd be lovely. And that's pretty much all of that. So until next time guys, take care, keep drumming, and I'll see you next Thursday for a lovely little drum fill. Alright, see you later.